Hello coaster lovers. So I got to visit Busch Gardens Tampa for the 4th time last Monday, and that visit was exhausting. It's because I got to visit with my neighbors and it was their first time at that park. One of the coasters that one of my neighbors loved was this coaster called Kumba, which I'm going to review today. So if you are new here and are planning a trip to Busch Gardens and want preparation for this legendary looper, make sure to subscribe to see more reviews just like this. So let's hop into the history of this 1993 looper. So this opened at Busch Gardens on April 20th, 1993. So it hit 30 years old last year. As for major events, there was not a lot, but if you know anything that I don't, leave a comment. So let's walk into the presentation. So while you walk up to the attraction, you hear the ride's loud B&M roar throughout the park, and normally, this ride does not get that much of a wait. Expect it to be 15 minutes or less. It might be over when you're on a busy day. So you enter the train, pull down your over-the-shoulder restraint, and they'll lead us into the ride experience. So you turn right and ascend the 143-foot lift hill, then you hit your pre-drop, and then you dive down to the left. It's a fun drop, and beware, this ride is 31 years old, and it definitely feels like it. You can get some headbanging at the valley between that and the 114-foot tall loop, which is the next element. It's a fun loop. You bank to the left after and soar into a dive loop. It has some kick at the top. Afterwards, it's a super snappy 0G roll, and it's even nicknamed the Hell Roll. It's super whippy. Then you straighten out, and this part right here is by far the most rattly part of this ride. After that is a Cobra roll, then you go into a mid-course. Then you dive down to the left again, and you go into the most picturesque roller coaster elements out there. It's the interlocking corkscrews. You'll see that at the end of the video. As for headbanging, oh definitely there is some headbanging. Then you go under the pathway, then dive into a tunnel. Then you suddenly turn right into a helix. If you're on the far right, you can actually hit some grass there, so don't do that. And that'll lead you into the final breaks. Now I'm going to discuss the layout for the next bit. So I think the layout for Kumba is pretty solid. It packs in 7 inversions into nearly 4,000 feet of track. I think the inversions on its own are pretty good, but there is one thing that bugs me about this coaster, but we're going to hit that later. And speaking of that, that will directly lead into my thoughts. So the thing that bugs me about this coaster is that it needs a retrack. I know the absolute potential that this ride has, like the forces are unbelievable, but the nasty B&M rattle is in the way for everything. But I don't think a retrack is super realistic. It's basically installing the same attraction, so you're not gaining another ride while doing a retrack. This will be an amazing way to honor the coaster during the 30th anniversary. I don't feel like it's super likely to happen, but the coaster itself minus the nasty rattle is an amazing coaster. I love the layout and the forces are really good. Overall, not a bad coaster, if you look past the nasty rattle though. So to end off this review, I'm going to give out the final score. So overall, I rate Kumba a 7.5 out of 10. The reason I took 2.5 points is pretty self-explainable, the nasty rattle. Everything else is really good. I also got to ride this 4 or 5 times at the time of this recording. It might be more in the future. But is this the best B&M at Busch Gardens? For me, it's number 2 right behind Montu. And if you want to hear my thoughts about that ride, check out my review. So I want to hear from you guys. Are you going to experience Kumba, and are you prepared as well? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to slap that like button, and you can subscribe if you feel like it. And like always, make sure to keep that adrenaline pumping, and thanks for watching.